So 5.1 has already released, and it's gathered both a positive and negative reception. So why is that? Well, obviously the Dailies introduction has been nothing but controversial, but we'll dive into it eventually. We're gonna scale it off, so we're gonna start with the least relevant aspects and top it off with discussing the Dailies, because, you know, that's gonna take a little bit of a while. I don't think anyone is surprised with this one. Umbrella is already out, and you can already buy her from cabinet with relative ease without having to spend 150k coins in a gamble, but it's still gonna cost you a pretty penny. You know, it's the usual with releases. It happened with Annie and Fuqua, so it's not gonna be any different here. There's also gonna be a Skullgirl umbrella, apparently, and I only hope she has a busted ability. By this I mean, and it's gonna be partly reflected on the umbrella video, there's not really any umbrella that makes me go, damn, I want that. And it's not even speaking from a player that has a vast fucking collection, right? They all feel like they exist, but not much more. At least Annie, when she came out, had variants that really felt like they had a lot of fun factor, but umbrella just kinda lingers in the middle. Regardless, there's also her prize fight coming out today, so expect server crashes. And a lot of people aiming for at least 100 million for 10%. I know it may sound exaggerated, but it's really not, trust me. Speaking of prize fights, there's also gonna be a new one for August, based on Las Vegas, because Evo. Who cares, it's just another 30-day prize fight that the based people are gonna clear in 1 day, and the plebs are gonna clear in 2 or more.
Holy shit, I'm gonna come.
This one change, we can all agree, it's one of the greatest fucking additions in a long while. Loadouts are just perfect. You just save a moveset for a loadout, and then you can instantly switch everything into one fighter. It reduces a lot of the tedium with switching moves, and it's honestly perfect. It's a feature that's been requested for such a long time that I don't even know when it became a thing. But quite frankly, that's really all there is to it. It's not a complex feature by any means. But it doesn't need to be. It does its job, and boy does it do it well. I'm really glad that they included this at long last, and they got a lot of respect from me by that. Okay, Rift Battle updates. This one's gonna take a while, and again, it's been very requested stuff, because for the longest time Rift has remained really stale and with little to no modifications. So seeing this amount of changes in one patch is incredibly welcome. First off, we have the expansion of Diamond rank thresholds. Much welcome addition. Now Diamond 1, instead of being 4 to 20, it's 4 to 100. Suffice it to say that's gonna be expanded to about Diamond 3, which is massive. That's actually massive. And Diamond 4 is top 1%. I don't think it needs that much explanation as to why these changes are that significant, because really it all consists on expanding how much people can actually get into Diamond, and that's a heavy positive. Of course, we still need to see how it turns out by the week, so still we gotta act cautiously. Now the more juicy stuff in attacker and defender diversity. Attacker diversity is easy to explain. Use no dupes whatsoever in offense, and you get a 1000 bonus points. It's simple and effective, it pretty much blocks you from using about 2 silent kills and whatnot. So you gotta strategize your offensive collection pretty well. Then there's defender diversity, and this one is a little bit more complex to explain. I love how they apologize to Nefarious, but I don't think he gives a shit. Anyway, as for the details, if a fighter appears twice, it gets deducted 25% of attack and health. Appear 3 or more times, and it gets deducted 50%. It's much more thoroughly explained in the post itself, but basically the nodes where the dupe variants show up get affected by this penalty, whereas the nodes without any dupes whatsoever don't get affected at all. Lastly, there's the matter of reset tiers, and this one can be appreciated, because it focuses on beginners and veterans trying to not find each other. So being below 1200 resets you at 1000, between 1200 and 1400 resets you to 1150, and above 1400 resets you to 1350. Suffice it to say, this is gonna be an interesting addition. It only has the intention of preventing the veteran newcomer dilemma, and we'll see how it plays out. Well, this is it, the daily events everyone has been waiting for. Has it lived up to your expectations? Not quite. Here's how the devs chose to deal with the dailies. Now they cost daily event tickets, which are for free, and originally they gave you 2, but after massive backlash they decided to bump up the number for 3. Because with each new character addition, it'll rise up to the point you actually have to get 3 or you're fucked. Anyway, the way it works is that you can spend a ticket in order to enter a daily, which feels rather clumsy. Here's the thing, everyone thought that the tickets were to skip the dailies, not to actually enter it. So when they revealed that it actually was to enter the dailies or to skip them, a lot of people felt rather disappointed. By limiting the amount of dailies people can do, people are effectively losing about 2 million total of grinding everything. Of course, not everyone does the whole thing, I certainly didn't, but the ones that did are gonna lose a lot of cash on a weekly basis. I say it would have been ideal to try and satisfy both parties. Regardless, in order to skip, you still have to clear the daily event. So you might as well start doing that if you want to skip it eventually. Another thing of note is that it doesn't count XP, but nobody cares unless it's holodeck hazards. Oh, and speaking of holodeck hazards and accursed experiments, those cost tickets as well. That's kind of a harsh choice.
Come on now.
I mean, I understand holodeck hazards, they bumped up the experience you gain, and it gives you about 300,000 experience. That's a hell of a lot, and I can sort of see why you would need a ticket. Accursed experiments is just weird, but you know, I say the best we can do about this is see how it plays out, even though it's kind of regrettable that people will miss out on those 1.8 million. Psych, I tricked you out the priority thing. Some improvements that nobody really expected but were added anyway made it into 5.1, and I say they're welcome enough. There are some improvements for the new players, like they were given a selection of specials and blockbusters for every character, and basic story chapters don't cost energy. There's also the matter of an improved in-game cheater report. That way you see someone that you're confident has cheated your base or your defense or whatever, you can actually instantly report them instead of having to go through the lengthy process of taking it to main court. And another relevant thing is replacing Freedom Fighter for Wolfbane in the dreaded Aegis node, and that effectively makes that node, if not outright a joke, at least bearable. All in all, 5.1 has a bit of a bumpy ride. I'll say it's got enough highs to make it still a very good patch. The loadouts and riff improvements, even if they may be a little faulty eventually, we never know, they are certainly welcome. The dailies change is something that still needs to be experimented on, because, let's be honest, a big detriment to the SGM community is judging preemptively. So you never know, preemptive judgment might be in effect here as well, for all we know. Oh, and there's also Umbrella, but who gives a shit. Still, at the end of the day, while I'm usually the kind of guy that throws a lot of shit at the devs, for this one I just can't. It's just not possible from my end. They went above and beyond for packing in as many quality of life improvements, and for most cases succeeded, and others they kind of fumbled. But the attempt itself, I just must commend it. So on that note, many thanks for the efforts made. And with that, I don't know, I'm just gonna fuck off and play some Mega Mix Plus.